Hi, everyone, and welcome back for another episode of Round Robin, where we spin the wheel, chase the chaos, and see where the conversation lands. I'm your host, Tracy Preston, along with Christine Mulligan, Nina Mulligan, Angela Hoefler, and of course, my husband, Todd Preston. Hey, everyone.
Hello. 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 Hi.
Love
Nice.
it.
Hey, everybody.
All right. Well, I want to start with something that has been everywhere lately, and I swear, once you hear it, you're going to start noticing it nonstop. And that is main character energy. Not influencer energy, not celebrity energy, but the idea that you are the main character in your own life. But here's the twist. I don't think most people actually live like that. I think most people are living like background characters in their own story. So Christine, I'll start with you. Do you think people are actually living their lives or just reacting to everything around them?
I think everyone reacts to everything around them because I am loud and obnoxious and boisterous. And when I'm in groups, people will say that I have main character energy, but I have learned, especially after being an empty nester, all my kids flew the coop, I have learned, no, I have never been the main character in my story because every time a kid left, or years ago I owned a business and I had it for many years, and when I sold it, I was like, who the hell am I? Because I didn't know who I was, because I was not the main character. Everything else was. And then with children leaving the nest, I didn't even know how to food shop for myself. I didn't know what I liked except for coffee and iced tea.
Right.
I didn't know what to buy at the food store because I was not the main character of my story. It was all about my family, and kind of still is. Now it's about, my wife and the dogs.
Right.
Still not main character yet.
Right.
So, affirmatively, we usually base our lives on everything around us, trying to make everyone around us happy and healthy before we worry about ourselves.
That's right. Especially us nurses. We're famous for that.
Yes, yes.
Now, Angela, how often do we scroll instead of act, watch instead of try, or wait for permission instead of just doing something?
All the time. Like, I totally agree with Christine. That's exactly who I am.
So, Nina, what does main character energy even look like in real life? Is it confidence? Is it delusion?
I don't know. Like, I don't think I have enough wine on board to get that philosophical.
You might want to chug a lug.
I think everybody has a little bit of main character energy. I just think we tend to do it when we're being a part of somebody else's story. I feel like sometimes my main character energy is mostly with people that I don't know. Because I think in that moment, you can actually be your most authentic because there's no fear of judgment because they don't know you and you're never going to see them again. So it's like you could literally, I'm going to probably see these people again, but I was just being myself. We went to our neighborhood shindig thingy or whatever here, and there was a bunch of men around some smoked meat, and they were cutting it up. And I just walked up to them and I said, man, I just love to see a group of men that know how to work their meat. Like, and the double entendre was there. I laughed, they laughed. And you know what? Like, maybe many years ago, I probably wouldn't have done that. I would have just been the quiet, don't talk unless you're talked to kind of person. And now I'm like, fuck it, I don't care. If you don't like me, you don't like me, and there isn't anything that's gonna change my life a bit. So I'm just who I am. I just want to get back to Tracy said, is it delusional or is it confident? Well, I'm getting there because I think that main character energy people that are main character energy all the time are delusional. Yeah. And slightly narcissistic. Yeah.
Agree. Absolutely agree. So, Todd, do you think social media has made people feel more important or less?
Totally, but in their make-believe world.
totally which direction, more or less?
Totally more, but I think, like I said, people are less likely to be themselves on social media. Then again, maybe people are actually more like themselves. Maybe when we see the asshole come out, that's the real person.
Could be. But I mean, like on TikTok, and well, that's the only one I've been looking at, but everybody has a TikTok, Reels, right? Maybe that's who they really want to be. Or they're thinking, hey, if I get just the right video, I'm going to go viral,
Right.
which makes me more important. Because everybody and their brother's making TikTok videos and Reels.
Well, I don't
Yeah.
know. My brothers aren't, but we are.
Your brothers aren't.
We're getting there. We're trying to catch up, but
Yeah. Now, let's be honest, because there are people out there acting like the main character when they are clearly a side quest. But here's where it gets interesting. There's actually a growing shift, especially after the pandemic, where people are quitting their jobs, changing careers, traveling more, and setting boundaries because they're realizing no one is coming to write your story for you. So let's flip it. What does it look like to live like a side character? Is it saying I'll do it someday? Staying in situations that don't make you happy? Watching other people live the life you want?
yeah, I don't know. I guess that's a tough one. That's a tough question. I think that's exactly what it is. It's almost like letting the world go by without you. You're just watching it happen, like a witness. Not really a character if you're sitting on the sidelines,
Kind of waiting for your moment to
kind
happen.
of waiting for your moment. But if you're waiting, it's never going to happen.
That's right.
You got to seize the day.
I don't think main character energy, having it or not, really seamlessly goes into no one's coming to fix things for you. I think that, especially the shift during COVID, people grabbing the reins of their life and steering it, becoming the captain of their ship. I think in one way you can coin that main character energy, but at the same time, I really think it better befits just owning your role, like owning your own actions, and realize that only your actions will change the course of your life, and that you cannot change the actions of anyone else around you, nor can they of you. That's a personal path to what's making you happy. And I think that goes more to following your joy, finding out what makes you energized and gives you the energy and the drive to do things versus being the main character. Because I always think it's better to be a supporting character in other people's stories while you're minding your own ship.
I couldn't agree more. Now, Angela, do you think younger generations are better at this or worse?
I have basically 10 kids between Adam and I, and they're all different in so many ways, right? Their personalities are very similar. I think it just depends on the age group and their personalities. There's so many different personalities. I can't really say it's kind of equal.
Right, so like the shy kid might be more, and I'll say keyboard warrior, not in a bad way, but maybe they can live in that world of things they want to do maybe. But in real life, it's too difficult. I can see that.
A lot of kids are struggling with a lot of emotions that they don't understand.
Right. Right. And especially Emily's age, it's hard to believe that, what was this, 6 years ago now? 5-6 years ago was COVID? So a lot of these little kids were home dealing with it, going to school, pulled away from their friends,
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Do you think that
It's hard on them.
Yeah, agreed.
Do you think that maybe technology is working against us in that aspect, where we're not forced to live with real life consequences in situations like we were when we were growing up? Is that going to hurt the next generation?
Well,
I feel like it will.
right. But let's look at all the good things that have come out of it. Look at all the remote jobs.
Yep.
I don't think there was such an explosion of remote work until COVID.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I think it had a lot of bad and some good that came out of it. It's hard to say.
And it Right, and it affected each one of them differently. Like, I've talked to every single one of them about COVID and what they went through, and each one handled it differently. And I think that technology has advanced and is absolutely wonderful in some ways, but like Todd said, you lack that person-to-person relationships and getting to know each other on a personal level, if that makes sense.
Right. A lot of people withdrew.
Yeah.
Now, Todd.
Yeah, there's definitely a lack of instant gratification.
Mm-hmm.
There's no gratification instantly online for the younger generation. So there's a delayed response in what they say or what they type and what actually comes of it afterwards.
Great.
So in that aspect, I don't know. I mean, cancel culture is the thing. You say the wrong thing, and there's millions of people that will literally, call your employment and try to get you fired. So I think they're very vigilant. I just think they do it in a different way. Back in the day, there was no record of our mistakes. Whereas now, the problem is that kids don't have the brain power to forward think about how will me saying this affect me 20 years from now when I'm trying to go get a job. And yet 20 years from now, that might very well be that they don't get a job because they said something when they were 12 on the internet. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think it's forcing people to become more isolated and keyboard warriors because they're afraid that if they say anything that they're going to get canceled. Now, in my opinion, I think sometimes that's a good thing. So it depends on what side of the coin you think is right. That's a solid argument for saying that the younger generations are actually less main character energy. Yeah, because they always have to stay vigilant about the ramifications. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. And I don't think they, just dealing with a 14-year-old in middle school, everyone, like you said, Nina, everyone is seeing your Snap, your TikTok, and that spreads like freaking wildfire.
Yep.
Yeah,
and now every kid on the planet has access to AI, where they can take a classmate's photo and turn it into blackmail.
Yep.
It's gonna become I think a huge issue, because I think it will almost drive us back to having less technology. Not that it won't be available to us, but I think collectively as a society, we're gonna decide that we're gonna stop telling everybody what we're doing every minute of the day. And it just will be kind of a thing that you do, like scrapbooking was a thing in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? Yep.
Right. We just have to wait for it to
that's
fade.
What I'm hoping. I'm hoping that this kind of there'll be a collective awakening, and we'll get back to being more social with each other facially, because that is also another problem that you have with this generation coming up. The ones that did deal with COVID, when they weren't seeing facial expressions and things like that, and so now we have a lot of young people that were kind of getting their school experience for the first time under duress. And then also young toddlers and things that grew up for 2, 3, maybe 4 years of not seeing people's faces. And so now there are studies coming out that they'll be even less able to read body language and be able to kind of read between the lines when it comes to people's faces and expressions. So we have some real issues that are coming up, and I think that technology can help us a lot with navigating that, but I feel also too, we need to be selective in how we use it.
Yeah, it's definitely a double-edged sword. And in fact, I heard it from the kids, in the car as I'm shuffling kids back and forth, exactly what you just said about malicious things kids are doing with AI about other people, especially girls. Boys spreading that shit around in school. And you may not have ever done anything, but they take your face and then they AI that onto something horrible.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I don't even know how we're gonna navigate it, if I'm being honest. I'm one of those people that like to think about all of the worst case scenarios and how I might navigate all that, but I don't even see how we course correct what could happen. I mean, it's just gonna be chaos.
Yeah, I don't see AI going anywhere. It's just improving. So we'll see. Time will tell. So Todd, have you ever made a decision that felt like a movie moment?
Yes, I have. I've done some crazy things in my life where I reacted without thinking thinking it out and thinking about consequences. Like in my younger years when I was in the Marine Corps, I did some crazy main character stuff all the time. But then again, I didn't really think that there was many people that I worried about or who worried about me. I was kind of off on my own. And I think when you have that kind of importance in your life, that's when you become okay being the secondary supporting actor. So I think in my youth, yes. Nowadays, I'm more that supporting actor, and I'll let the main character come out when it's appropriate. But I guess that's kind of like having a director in your brain too. Letting you know what's right and what's wrong. And I think there's sometimes where I'm at work where that main character wants to come out, but the supporting actor comes out instead, because I can't just say, "Shut up, your stupid face."
Shut up, you stupid face.
Or I'll just, my supporting actor will say, "Okay."
Right. Help me get through this.
Yep.
I think my movie moment was when Lauren was 6 weeks old. I'm like, yes, I'll parachute out of a plane. That was fun.
Yeah.
I don't regret it, but it was reckless. 6-week-old
That's
baby, I could have
crazy.
died. So we all wanna be that main character until we trip in public. Then suddenly it's a documentary and you're the cautionary tale. All right, so with that, it's time to move on to our Woman of the Week. And if we're talking about main character energy, there may not be a better example. We have to talk about someone who didn't just live her life like she was the main character. She lived like the world hadn't even written the rules yet. And that is Amelia Earhart. She wasn't supposed to be a pilot, not in the early 1900s, not as a woman, not in a world that had already decided what her limits were. But she didn't just push those limits. She ignored them entirely. She worked odd jobs to afford flying lessons. She saved every dollar she could. And when she finally got in the air, she didn't just fly. She belonged there. In 1932, she became the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean. And she didn't do it quietly. She did it knowing the world was watching, and that every mile she flew changed what people believed women were capable of. But here's what I love about her story. She wasn't fearless. She was intentional. She knew the risks. She understood the danger, and she chose to go anyway, and that's the difference. Main character energy isn't about being fearless, it's about choosing your life on purpose. But what makes her powerful isn't just what she achieved, it's that she lived intentionally. She didn't wait, she didn't ask permission, and she didn't stay comfortable. And then, of course, there's the part of her story that still lingers, her final flight. Her disappearance somewhere over the Pacific Ocean in 1937, a mystery that has never been fully solved. And maybe that's part of why she still stays with us, because her story doesn't end neatly. It ends the way so many bold lives do, mid-journey, still reaching for something bigger. So today we honor Amelia Earhart, not for just how far she flew, but for the courage it took to leave the ground at all. May we never wait for permission to become who we are meant to be, and may we all carry that same fire forward. I always get the chills when I say these final lines. I don't know why.
Yeah. Amelia's cool.
Yeah.
American hero right there.
All right, so with that, we're going to get into our round robin recommendations. And as a reminder, I will tell you what our scale is. 1 spin, only if you're bored. 2 spins, backyard noise. 3, solid watch. 4, highly recommend. And 5, drop everything and spin immediately. Who wants to go first?
Adam and I were having a conversation the other night, and it had to do with different kinds of mental illnesses like schizophrenia and bipolar and things like that. And he was like, hey, I have a show that we should watch, and it's called Homeland. Did you guys watch that?
Isn't that with Claire Danes?
Yeah.
Yes, that's intense.
It is so good. It is so
intense.
good.
Yeah. Yes.
It is. And it's all like a psychological thriller. Damian Lewis, he is basically a soldier who was captured and presumed dead. And after 8 years, he comes back. So it gets really plotty and twisty, and it's great. It's intense. So yeah,
It
that's my
is.
I don't
recommendation.
think I've seen that.
I agree. It's good. It's a series.
It also has Mandy, I forget his name. He did Inigo Montoya, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
You killed my father.
That's
Prepare
right.
to die.
That's right. Yeah, and the crazy thing is too, right? So when he disappeared, he had a wife and a child. So all these years later, he comes back and, well, that would be crazy, right? 8 years, you said?
Yeah.
Everyone
8
thought you were dead?
years.
That's crazy. That's
Yeah, you
crazy.
can watch it on Netflix, yes.
Okay, that's where I watched it years ago. I thought about revisiting it, but I love Claire Danes, but sometimes her face gets me a little edgy. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. I have two. So one is related to our topic today, relating to identity, reality, and perception in such a fun way, and that is the Truman Show, which I know you've seen.
Oh, yeah.
Now, streaming can rotate, so you might find it on Paramount Plus, Amazon Prime Video, Apple TV, and YouTube. And on the surface, Truman Burbank has a perfect life. He lives in a picturesque town called Sea Haven, clean streets, friendly neighbors, a loving wife, and a steady job, but everything feels safe, predictable, and comfortable. But what Truman doesn't know is that his entire life is a television show which is broadcast 24 hours a day to millions of people around the world. And they watched him from birth till the end when he escaped.
Right.
So I couldn't imagine how awful that would have been to know that your entire life was a total lie.
Horrible.
Yeah. Now, his town was a massive constructed set. Even the sky above him was artificial. Now, the show is controlled by a man named Christoph, who has been orchestrating Truman's life since birth, carefully scripting events, manipulating relationships, and even engineering Truman's fears, all to keep him from ever leaving. But over time, things start to crack. There's small inconsistencies, moments that don't quite make sense, like a light falling from the sky, a radio frequency that seems to follow his movements, and people repeating patterns. So Truman is played by Jim Carrey. Ed Harris, which is one of my favorites, he plays Christoph, the orchestrator of this whole life. And Laura Linney, who's also one of my favorites, plays Meryl Burbank, Truman's wife.
Yeah, she was in Ozark.
Mm-hmm. She's the best. And then I have The Hunting Wives, which is what I was watching while I was traveling this last week, and this is streaming on Netflix. So Sophie O'Neill moves from city life to a wealthy, seemingly perfect East Texas town where she becomes entangled in a group of elite, magnetic women. What starts as friendship quickly spirals into obsession, manipulation, and dark secrets. And this is a story about power, identity, and how far people will go to protect the life they've built, or the one they desperately want. Now, right now, there's currently only one season, so I don't know if they're making another one. There's 8 episodes in season 1, and the main characters are Brittany Snow, and she plays Sophie, Malin Ackerman, who plays Margot. You guys have probably seen her in other movies. She was a blonde. I can't think of what she was in before. Dermot Mulroney plays Margot's husband. And then Chrissy Metz is in a supporting role. Now, this show is basically main character energy gone sideways. It explores reinvention and authenticity, the pressure to belong, and what happens when you try to step into a life that isn't really yours. I didn't think I would like it. I watched the first episode. I'm like, meh. And so it's been sitting there. It's just one of those shows
I'm
that...
kind of understanding your theme for the show now because,
That's right. But I got into it. I put it on the shelf, and now it's like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to watch the next episode because there's a lot of horrible things that are happening here. There's murder. There's total betrayal. It's awful, but it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we watched that a while back, and I do want to put it out there that there was 2 episodes. I want to say they were like the 3rd and 4th episode, where I was just like, I can't watch this crap. I just couldn't watch it. I was highly disturbed. And I don't want to ruin it for you because you didn't get there yet, but I was highly disturbed. So we'll come back to that after you finish up to like episode 4 or 5.
Yeah.
The normalization of some stuff and switching the sexes around on some stuff, I was disturbed, like physically, literally disturbed. I could not watch it. So I did fast forward through a few bits, but overall, it was a good show.
Yeah, I think I'm on episode 4, so I think I know what you're talking about. And it's getting to the part where I'm almost holding my breath. I'm like, oh dear God, this is about to get way crazy.
It was disturbing on a level, the pedophilia thing. I just couldn't watch it.
Mm-hmm.
The normalization of it was disturbing to me on a level that I wanted to reach through the screen and hurt somebody.
Yep. Well, the character of Margot Banks, she's out there. She is out there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that power and money.
I mean, overall, it was interesting. And like you said, you know, in theme with everything we've been talking about, psychosis and main character energy or subservientness, you know, it all kind of plays into that series.
Yep. All right. So what do you guys have?
All right. So I will tell you that I want to say it's 3 spins, right? It's a solid watch. You liked it better than I?
I would say 4 because I don't generally like romance comedy type ones. They always end up being so cheesy. But I really liked this one because, well, there was singing in it and it was about following your dreams. No matter how silly someone thinks you are, you should do it. And so I just loved it for that. And it had some really great actors in it.
Okay, so let me tell you, it's Song Sung Blue. And we watched it. Did you see it?
No, I just love the. No, I'm just giggling at Nina. That's all.
So it's Song Sung Blue. I think we watched it on Peacock, but you could also watch it on Amazon and Apple TV, I believe. It's about 2 down on their luck performers. They form a Neil Diamond tribute band together, but it kind of follows their love story.
It's based on a true story.
It's based on their love story of how they met as performers and got together and then dealt with, you know, lifing on them for a bit, and ultimately their success as a Neil Diamond tribute band. Nina enjoyed it thoroughly because, you know, it was singers, you know, living out their dreams. But at the same time, I enjoyed it thoroughly because Kate Hudson and Hugh Jackman are the stars, and I find them both to be fantastic actors.
Yeah.
So that is why we watched it initially, was because of the 2 main characters, and it was a pleasant watch.
And they sing all the songs themselves.
Yeah, and they do their own singing. Yeah.
Well, Hugh Jackman was in that. What was that circus movie? What was it?
Moulin Rouge.
Oh, yeah.
Was
No.
The
Water
Greatest
for
Entertainer.
The Greatest Entertainer.
The Greatest Showman.
Yes, that's
yes,
it.
The greatest.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yes, he did his singing in that one too.
Yeah, well, he's always been a theater actor. Like those are his roots. So singing and dancing has always been his jive. And Kate Hudson, actually, she gives concerts. She does concerts. She sings. I think she has a recording label and everything. Being a singer is her side hustle to being an actress.
Right. And she's got a clothing line, like a workout clothing line, something like that.
Yes.
She stays busy. And you know what? I forgot to give my spins.
Yeah, you didn't spin it.
No. What do you get? What do you want to give the Truman Show?
I give it a 5, actually.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
It's one of those movies that I enjoyed when I first saw it, and I enjoy it every time I see it after. It's a great movie.
I've only seen it once. I got to go back and rewatch it. Because you know how when you go back, you're like, oh, wow, I missed that.
Yeah.
I missed that.
Yeah.
I just remember being heartbroken for him.
I think The Truman Show is worth a rewatch for a lot of people, especially in today's day and age, when everyone is starting to feel like their whole life was a lie. Everything that they were programmed and taught to believe about a lot of things, that perhaps that was just some programming.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll task all of our listeners to give that a watch. Would probably do us all a bit of good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then The Hunting Wives, I'm going to give that a solid 3.5. I haven't finished it yet, but there are some controversial things in it for sure. All right. Well, that's our show for today, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment. And we will see you all back on Friday for F-Bomb. Have a great week, everyone.
Ciao, fellas. Adios, amigos.
What?
Later.
You can't say adios, amigos. That's us.
She did. She stepped right on it. You can repeat it, though.
No, I'm good. What is Nina?
What are you going to say now?
Nina says something different out every time.
She says something different every time.
So I'm going to say au revoir. There, something different.
Au revoir. And I'll say later. Wait, that's Angela's. I can't say that. I'm going to say catch you on the flip side. All right, thanks, everyone.